Arcane Mage can do some crazy stuff in patch 11. You want to buy some flux? Boom, baby! Your healer's not doing a lot, is he? Oh, God. Wait, is he in a sap? Oh, this healer's about to get fluxed on, bro. He died, dude. What? And in today's video, I wanted to break it down to its simplest form, as Arcane Mage has a notorious reputation for being incredibly complex and difficult to play. So in today's video, we are going to be simplifying it so that you can start having a lot of fun with it in patch 11.2, because I would absolutely recommend it. I've recommended it since the start of the War Within, and now with the changes being implemented for this patch, it's even more crazy. It's even more wild, and it's something that I feel like everyone needs to play at some point throughout this expansion's life cycle, because who knows if it's going to be like this for very long, or where it could possibly go moving forward into midnight. So the first big thing to note that we need to be playing, that I definitely underrated in the PTR, is this PvP talent called Netherflux. Netherflux is going to replace your Touch of the Magi and make it a 15-second cooldown. It's going to brand your target and increase the damage they take from your next targeted spell by 125%. Now, from my testing so far, the best spell to combo after this has been Arcane Missiles. It will absolutely clobber a target, in some cases taking 50 to almost 100% of their health in one cast. Main downside of this ability is that you can't fake cast that spell, because if you do, you're going to lose the Netherflux buff, which means if people instantly CC you on that missile, you're losing it. So you gotta be very tactical with your positioning and your play with this ability in order to actually secure it, because people are really quick at kicking. You're really not going to get a lot done there. Now, I'm still opting for Spell Slinger as my hero talent build. I really like the added splinter damage. It also just looks really cool cosmetically. We're still running a build that heavily focuses around barrage execute damage and getting Arcane Surge off in order to take out your target. Arcane is very squishy and requires some expert navigation if you're going to see success with it. So I do highly recommend running Overpowered Barrier, and I think every mage is going to be recommending that to you, as this is going to give you an enhancement to your barrier effect, allowing you to survive high burst moments, especially against classes like Hunters, which can really demolish you. Some other important abilities to note are things like greater invisibility, providing you significant damage reduction in those areas. You're going to want to be really focusing on that, as well as mirror images, which can provide you damage reduction. So, we're talking about offense, we're highlighting that. That's what all the clips are based about, but you really need to know where its defense comes from in order to succeed, as well as alter time in order to soak damage. So I'll often press alter time before I go into any engagement, so that way I've got kind of this out that I can rewind to and be able to recover from. And then once I have no more alter time, I start using the shields. Then I go through the big cooldowns like greater invisibility or mirror images. And then shifting power is your engine that's going to be resetting all of these abilities, while you're also simultaneously blinking around the map a ton. So let's just talk about rotation. First thing, if you want, so this is like an Omega go. This is like you want to just completely destroy the target and demolish them in 1 millisecond. You're going to Evocation first. This is going to give you main stat. You're going to Arcane Surge next. And then you're going to Missiles. And then you're going to Netherflux Missiles. Netherflux Missiles into double Palm Arcane Blast, into Barrage spam basically at this point. And you're going to use Arcane Orbs to recharge and use Barrage to spend them. And then once you've run out of stacks, you use Missiles to regenerate those stacks, and then go back to spamming Barrage or spamming Orbs to get more Missiles to spam Barrage. And you can see Netherflux is basically up all the time. So that's the Omega go. Whenever you don't have the Omega go, which is Arcane Surge and Evocation, you're just going to press Netherflux and Missiles. It's really not that hard. I just want to highlight that to you right now, that Arcane might be deceivingly difficult, I think, with its navigation and survivability while maintaining this rotation. But with Netherflux on a 15-second cooldown, you just Netherflux Missiles. That's your burst. You're done. And then if you get a shifting power off, you're going to reset the Netherflux Missiles. And then Palm Double Blast into big Barrage executes. You can go into the Barrage mode, basically. I call it Barrage mode, where you don't have Netherflux. So you just spam Barrage to get procs, and you spam Missiles to get charges to make your barrages hit harder, and then you go Netherflux mode Missiles, spamming barrages again, missile procs into more orbs to get charges for more barrages, and you just keep spamming the barrages. Even if you have nothing, you just spam barrage. You can make it a lot easier for yourself, right, by just spamming barrage. And you can see now we've got Evocation coming up cooldown, so we can charge up for the Giga-Go, Evocation, Arcane Surge, Missiles, and another Flux, Missiles, and a double barrage, big blasts of damage, get our stacks back up, and just go back into barrage mode. So it doesn't need to be overly complex in order to do a significant amount of damage. That's how I simplify it. Don't spend a lot of time hard casting Arcane Blast. It's just not going to do a lot. You're only going to use it during your Presence of Mind window, on those Netherflux windows after your missiles proc, so you get the big double stack. You're basically just spamming them. Now, obviously, things get more difficult when you're getting attacked. So when you're getting attacked, you're going to want to use things like Alter Time before the engagement, Netherflux missiles, maybe blink around a little bit. You're getting attacked. Enemies are chasing you. You get low health. You can alter back. Then after you've altered back, then you can start trading shields like Prismatic Barrier while maintaining your rotation and still getting really big effective value. We also have Mass Barrier for a secondary shielding effect in some sort of emergency situation. And then we can use Shifting Power in order to reset those effects, regain their power, and then continue trucking on. Also, something you don't want to forget that you have is Displacement, which will let you return back to your original blink location, but you have to be careful. You can't run out of range of it. It does not have a huge distance in order to kite. And my preferred race of choice at the moment is Void Elf, and mostly because Void Elf doesn't get pushed back on its spells. So when you're channeling any spells like Polymorph or Ringer like that, you're not going to get pushed back and be annoyed. And you also get this Spatial Rift, which gives you added mobility in order to kind of just like kite away from an engagement. So I particularly like Void Elf in almost every single PvP situation, from those pushbacks, the extra kind of passive damage buff since you're doing damage pretty much all of the time at any given moment, as well as the added mobility on top of that. Although, of course, I think Night Elf is always going to be a solid go-to, a solid option in that regard. But you can see that once you break it down, it's really not that hard. Just Netherflux missiles. Barrage. You probably took a target out at that point, even if you wanted to miss out on everything else that I've broken down in this video so far. As long as you understand Netherflux missiles barrage, you're going to be just smashing people in PvP. Now, when you layer on the survivability, the kiting tactics, and everything else that goes along with this, you're going to be just like an unkillable god, basically. It's going to feel like you have all of the power in the universe. You're going to feel like Thanos with all the Infinity Stones collected, and you're going to absolutely demolish people because you have such a wild kit, right? You can knock enemies away from you. You can Dragon's Breath them off of you. You can drop AoE, CC, and BG situations. You can shield up for almost, you have like 5 different ways to like perma-immune damage for a small amount of time between Alter, Prismatic Barrier, Greater Invis, and Ice Block. You just have an endless list of tools and mobility, basically, to basically go wherever you want at any given moment in time and absolutely stomp on people. So don't like let yourself talk yourself out of trying this spec because you think that it's going to be too intimidating or it's going to be too difficult, because once you break it down into the 2 phases, which is your Netherflux missile phase and then this kind of phase where you just spam instants. If you get procs, you can missiles. If you don't have any of these little orbs in the middle, you can use Arcane Orb to generate some of them, and you can just continue blasting down and doing a ton of damage and absolutely demolishing anybody that comes in your path. It's a really good time. I would definitely recommend it. All content, I think world PvP, even 2v2, 3v3, Battlegrounds, definitely one of my most recommended specs for the expansion, and it just got even stronger, basically, in patch 11.2. So I hope you guys enjoyed this breakdown. Leave the talents if you want to screenshot them. I'll do my best to have the code in the description as well, but sometimes the codes go out of date, so make sure just to take a screenshot if you like of the talent tree. That's the build, that's the loadout, that's the general strategy here. We want to go haste and versatility. I know a lot of players are concerned with gearing up as well. My recommendation with this preseason week, you can't farm any honor gear at the moment. The only item you can get is the Reshi Wraps, which for this week are technically an upgrade. And it looks like you can upgrade the Reshi Wraps through PvP. So you may want to go after the Reshi Wraps at least on your main character for now. I do imagine that they will nerf the effects on that, which is the new artifact cloak that's coming in. I imagine they're going to nerf the effects the same way that they have with the rest of the PvE items. But there have been some PvE items that they leave at like a slight item level advantage. So if you want to be completely min-maxed, I could see that item by the end of the season being that like tiny min-max stat value higher, because you can pick your secondaries on it and it has higher primary stat because higher item level, at least for right now. But once we get the honor gear next week, and I'll be making a gearing guide as well, so if you want to make sure you stay up to date with news and gearing guides and stuff like that, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Support is greatly appreciated. Just wanted to bring it up if you're wondering like what there is to do right now for this week. You basically can queue shuffle. This rating will just get reset on Tuesday, but the ranks there, you can test out all the changes that came for your classes, these new builds and loadouts, and kind of train them up. And you can go do the new campaign and work towards getting the Reshi Wraps, which will be an upgrade for at least like a couple of days on the start of the next season, and possibly until you can get your Conquest Cloak depending on how many item levels it upgrades per week. But if you don't want to get it, I don't think it's going to be a huge deal for people who like, I really don't want to do the PvE stuff. I don't think it's going to be a huge deal. Again, I think it's like very minor at the end of the day, if at all. Maybe they just don't even put the Reshi reps in PvP whatsoever. But that's the breakdown for the video. That's my update for this class so far. We're going to be covering a lot of specializations as well moving into the future, and trying to give you some kind of basic breakdown primers like this, so you can get just the basic, guts of the class and get a lot of value out of it and have fun with it out of the box without being too burdened down with the complexities towards it. But thank you guys very much for watching the video, and I will see you in the next one.